Hey guys, today we are going to be tying the Duracell nymph. We have it on a size 14 with a 3.5 millimeter slotted bead here. Again with this fly, change your sizes up to fit your needs. This is typically about the biggest we fish it. We fish it pretty often in like a 16 with a 3.0, 18 with a 2.5. Those three sizes tend to work the best for us. Starting with some 8/0 70 purple thread here. Start by wrapping right behind the bead. Trying to lock that down so it ain't slopping all over the place on you. And how I'm doing this, I'm kind of just wrapping back and forth, creating a natural little taper here until I get that bead locked down. Well, it's good and locked down, so we're going to wrap back just past that hook point. Snip our excess here. We're going to use Coq De Leon CDL for the tail. I like to use, 4 fibers, 5 fibers, somewhere in there. Pinch those off. Tie them in here. Right on top. There we go. 1, 2 wraps. Kind of like I tie my Frenchie. I like to leave it a little loose so that way you can adjust the length of that tail. That looks good. There, and I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3, whole bunch here. Get that tied down real tight. And this doesn't need to be super pretty yet because we're going to cover this whole fly with dubbing. We're going to trim that excess off, clean that up just a smidge. Now we are going to tie in a little bit of extra small wire. You can use extra small, small, pretty interchangeable. I'm going to tie that in right in the slot of the bead there. Wrap back. Again, it doesn't need to be beautiful because we're going to cover all this up with dubbing. There we go, got that. Ice Dub UV Brown for the body. Now, you do kind of want to use a good little bit of this here because our whole body is going to be made out of this UV Brown Ice Dub. So get kind of a nice long, decently thick noodle there. We're just going to start wrapping that up. We aren't going to quite make it, so we're going to add just a smidge more. Try to keep your noodle, like in this situation, we came up a little bit short on what we needed. Try to keep that noodle the same diameter that you did the first time, so that way you have a nice uniform fly. There we go, that looks good. Now we're going to take our wire, wrap that red wire up as even spacing as you can. Get it right behind the bead. Helicopter that wire around your thread 2 times to really lock it down. There we go. Now, to finish this, we are going to do some CDC and a dubbing loop. How to do a dubbing loop. Pull this down a little bit, pull your bobbin down, take your finger, put it right in the middle of here and the end of your bobbin. 1, 2, 3. We created a loop here. Now we're going to helicopter that twice. 1, 2. Now you've got this nice loop. Going to take your dubbing whirl or twister, whatever you want to call it, hang that down. Brown CDC. Ooh, that feather broke in half. Sweet. Okay, so what I like to do, you've got the stem of your feather. I like to try to splay. Ooh, that one split too on us. Man, unlucky with these feathers today. You got your stem. Try to feather those fibers to either side of the stem there. I like to take this yucky bunch off the bottom just to kind of clean your feather up, make it a little bit more manageable. Now, what we're gonna do, splay those out as best you can. We're gonna take our CDC clip, pinch those in there as even as you can, just like that. Now we're gonna take our scissors and trim this as close to the stem as you can. Just leaving that, it's probably pretty tough to see because the CDC is so fine, but as close to the stem as you possibly can. Now we're gonna take our dubbing loop tool, try to situate that. Ooh. Pull this dubbing loop tool towards you to keep it kind of tight so those fibers won't slide around. Then take your index finger, kind of push them up as much as you get them as close to that thread as you can. Now we're going to take it, spinny spin, just like that. We're going to wrap that CDC just like so. Again, this doesn't need to be super pretty quite yet. We can clean all this up with our thread in just a minute in our bobbin. Wrap that. Helicopter your thread around your loop. And now 1, 2, 3. Give that a nice tug to really lock that down. Snip our loop off here. Now, if you have fiber, we did pretty well on this one, so our fibers aren't going everywhere crazy. But if your fibers are going a little nuts, just take your fingers, preen those back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wraps or so, get them nice locked down, going in the right direction. We are going to take our whip finisher, finish this off. Give that a nice tug, get it seated down. Snip. Now, we have some kind of crazy fibers, maybe they're a little longer than you'd like them to be. What you can do is take your finger and kind of pinch them all down, and all these little excess dudes here beyond your finger, you can just kind of snip those and make it a little bit cleaner looking. And that is how you tie the Duracell.